Silent Night is the Christmas song that has been recorded more than any other. That's probably not that much of a surprise. This is a song that we sing. Just about every congregation that I know sings Silent Night on Christmas Eve. It just fits. So more than 700 recordings of Silent Night. Everybody from Gene Autry to Bing Crosby. I don't know this for a fact, but I bet Cyndi Lauper has done a rendition of Silent Night. Everybody sings Silent Night. It's just a beautiful song. And you may know the legend of this song. The legend is that the organ at St. Nicholas Church in Obendorf, Austria, broke down right before Christmas. You've heard this story? You know, the organ broke. They couldn't get the organ repair guy from Switzerland in time to fix it for Christmas. And so, what are we going to do? We're going to have no music on Christmas Eve. That would be horrible. So the pastor, the priest there, Joseph Moore, writes out the words to Silent Night, and his buddy, the organist, who was Franz Gruber immediately gets to work and writes out the melody for Silent Night, and boom, it's a Christmas miracle. You have Silent Night on guitar for Christmas Eve service. Well, it's not quite that dramatic, because the words were written about 2 years earlier. So the words were written by Pastor Moore 2 years earlier, and he had this really nice Christmas poem, which, by the way, is 6 verses, not 3 verses. Lazy Americans. You know, we got 6 good verses of the song, but we can only do 3. We wouldn't want to sing too long. In German, now they know how to sing 6 verses, or you might remember from a few weeks ago that the Gift from Heaven Above, a Christmas song that we never sing, written by Martin Luther, 15 verses. Can you imagine that? 15 verses. I said to Gary, next Christmas Eve, we're going for 15. There won't be anything else. We won't sing any other songs. There won't be any sermon. We'll just sing 15 verses and go home. So it's actually 6 verses, and apparently the organ really wasn't broken, but Franz Gruber wrote the melody for guitar. That part is true. And so the two of them sang Silent Night for the first time on Christmas Eve in 1818. And the music just spread. There are some folk singers, some Austrian and Swiss folk singers that heard the song, and it just spread all over the place. Next thing you know, they're singing it in front of the Kaiser, they're singing it in front of the Russian Tsar, and it's being sung by 1839, it's being sung outside of the cathedral in New York City. So it just spreads all over the world. Great, and it's just a great song. It sounds, it sounds like a lullaby. It's just very calming, very soothing. Works great with harp. Very mellow kind of song. And it has some deep theology to it too, especially in the verses that we never sing. Verse 5, for example, says, "Silent night, holy night, sleeps the world in peace tonight. God sends his Son to earth below, a child from whom all blessings flow. Jesus embraces humankind." I mean, that the Son of God came into the world to embrace everybody. That this is not just a story or a sermon for the people. It's not just for the people of Israel. It's not just for the people in the church, but this is for everybody. That God's embrace is universal. It's for all humankind. And maybe sometimes we need that message not shouted, not really loud, but like this song. Just calm, mellow, soft. That that's a lot of times what God's love is like. That it's not overpowering. It's not the brightest thing in the world sometimes, but it's kind of in the background, supporting us, sustaining us, giving us life from day to day, blessing us from moment to moment. And that's how this song, I think, has functioned in the world. Both in the way that we sing it, and when we sing it every Christmas Eve with the candlelight, so many people do that, but the way that it has had an impact. Because you know some of the stories behind this song, how this song has really, in its gentle, calming way, brought peace into some of the worst situations in the world. You know the story of the Christmas Eve truce of 1914, where the Belgians and the French and the Germans are across, facing each other in trenches during World War I. It's clear at this point, that everybody thought, oh, this war is going to be over very fast. Both sides were like, this is a victory for us, no problem. And by Christmas of 1914, it's clear that this is going to be a long, slow, brutal, ugly thing. Nobody's going home anytime soon. And so the troops are facing each other off, and a German, and I hadn't known this, a German named Walter Kirchhoff, he starts singing Silent Night. And I guess it worked for him because he used to sing in the opera, so he could get that voice going across no man's land to the British to hear him. So he starts singing Silent Night, walks out into no man's land, into the place where you wouldn't go because you were going to get killed. And then he sings Silent Night, and then the next thing you know, the British start singing Silent Night in English, and they trade carols back and forth. They come up out of their trenches, they exchange gifts. I got some cigarettes from back home. I got some chocolate. And for a moment in time, in the middle of a brutal war, there's peace. Because of this song. Because people knew this song. The power of music, the power of the name of Jesus. Sung back. And you might remember a story from the next World War. A group of Americans were taken prisoner after the Battle of the Bulge. Battle of the Bulge was the last Nazi offensive that failed. But thousands of Americans were taken prisoner in that battle. And there's a column of American POWs marching through Germany to a prison camp. And, of course, at this point, Germany has been bombed repeatedly. People are hungry. People are angry about the war. And in this column was a bomber pilot. Of course, the German people had a lot of animosity toward bomber pilots because those were the people that were making them suffer. And there was another person in that column, John Burtis' dad. You might remember our friend John Burtis. His dad was in that column back in World War II. And they're marching through this village, and people are gathering around, and they're screaming, and they're starting to throw things at the prisoners. And it looks like it's going to get really ugly, like they're just going to drag off this bomber pilot and kill him. And somebody in the column starts singing Silent Night. And then the next thing you know, English and German voices are raised, singing Silent Night. And they march away. A moment of peace in a time of war. And maybe that's what Silent Night can bring us to. It can bring us a reminder of God's love, of God's compassion, of God's peace in all the tumult that we face in our lives. In everything that we look out in the world and we say, this is wrong and that's scary, we can sing this song and remember that God truly has come into the world. That in the birth of that baby, we have a promise. We have hope. Thanks be to God.